everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today's video is I entitled it Doing Autism the Parent Way. Uh, and this video has come up directly because recently, in the last few months, Autism Treatment Center of America has shut down, and I will leave video or clips to the companies or the groups that are kind of taking over. But it made me very sad. It made me very sad because once again, the things that work for our kids, the things that respect our kids' autonomy, that give parents the tools to know what they're dealing with. Um, yeah, if they do not have federal funding from the school system, the medical system, essentially they get shut down or they're villainized until the individuals running it get too old, and then it just shuts down because they don't have the energy. So uh, if you don't know our story, uh, we found Autism Treatment Center through our homeschool group, through the lady, our homeschool facilitator. She had a child with autism and she went through that program. So she was a parent. She was a parent who had actually dealt with that. And therefore, we heard about it. And I'm sorry about my neighbor's dog. Every time, like, I actually have restarted this once before already. Um, they're moving. They're moving. So hopefully that will be less of a problem in the future. But at the end of the day, I am noticing a trend that all the things that seem to really help our kids is villainized, not really studied very well, um, and it's always towards the accepted practice of the ABA. That's the gold standard for care. And the reason why it makes me so sad is because we did do limited ABA with my son through the school system, and it was a direct cause of him having an anxiety disorder on top of his autism. Now, it's not a full diagnosis because once I saw it get to a certain point, me and my husband were like, we can't do this to him, and they were unwilling to shift or change or do something else. And so through that process, I really learned that autism and the school system and the medical system may not have all the answers. And it took me a while to learn that this was not the case, because it felt the height of hubris to say we're right and everyone else who is way more educated than me is wrong. And I really struggled with that because I didn't want to be that person who goes, I have all the answers. And I did spend a lot of energy and a lot of time trying to make sure that I didn't treat them like they were dumb or stupid, that they had value, all of those things. But there was so much that they were unwilling to go, okay, like, let's shift positions because this is really not working for this kid. This kid is, getting worse off, not better. And when our homeschool facilitator came, and she was a parent with a child with autism, and she had actually gone to the Autism Treatment Center of America in Massachusetts, and she literally was the one who shared them with me, and then I was able to do their online course, and that was what made the difference for Darian. That's what helped. So when I see things, and I think I don't know the whole story as to why they're shutting down. I think part of it is just that the two people who started the Sunrise program are in retirement age, but I don't know why the younger group didn't, but I have a suspicion that the Autism Treatment Center of America comes with a lot of bad press, a lot of rumor and innuendo about how horrible that program is for our kids. And it just makes me sad. It is the same thing for like spelling. There's a group of individuals who like privately teach how to get our kids to spell, because you um, as parents and as society, we need to treat these kids as if they are smart. They do have capabilities, and when we assume that they're just young little kids, and yeah, we do them a disservice. So uh, there's a fella that I watched. His name is Tyler Hudson. He's American but lives down in the United States, and I will see if I can link some of his stuff. But he started, his son is 18, much like Darian, and he started doing spelling as a way to reach his son and trying to teach him that program, because he's a teenager, he's out of the school system, and it's like his dad and mom were like, what do we have to lose if we teach him this and he is able to tell us what he's thinking and feeling? Why wouldn't we do it? And the amount of pushback that he is getting, the controversial aspect of facilitated communication, which was something Darian was doing as a direct result of how anxious he was feeling, and the pushback we got on it, like we were blinded by love. We were doing literally everything we could to prove that it was him and not me, and nothing really worked when it came to that. Nothing really. They were, yeah, it was so unstudied, it was so unbelievable. And it did get to the point once we took him home and we did the Sunrise program for a while, and Darian was feeling safe. He had more words. He didn't like the feeling of holding a pencil. Sorry, my fingers are blue because I'm dyeing something blue instead of white. So there's a whole bunch of things going on there. But like there was so many things that make me sad about all of this, and it has to do with the fact that the things that seem to work for our kids, the things that seem to help them communicate better, to be heard, is villainized by a machine that is so focused on self-preservation that these good programs are being shut down and not utilized because they get villainized because there's money behind the villainization. So this video is mainly because if there's something that you are doing as a parent that you are getting pushback by the medical system, the school system, your, yeah, any sort of pushback, but that your child and you are finding value in, I really, 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 really want to stress that you as the parent know your child best, and if this is helping, it doesn't matter what they say. um, the new uh, in the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years, they have been talking about a sub-diagnosis within autism called pathological demand avoidance, which Colin and I very much recognize in our son. And there's a whole group of individuals pushing back that It's gentle parenting. We're letting our kids do whatever they want. We're essentially bad parents. We're horrible parents because we're letting them do whatever they want and walk all over us, and has nothing to do with safety. We latch on to an influencer, and therefore it allows us to be horrible, horrible parents. And I wanted this video to be an encouragement for you. If you are finding it to be a help, if it's helping you understand your child better, and here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. You within your household, you're allowed to do whatever you want within reason, of course. Um, and others on the outside looking in may say that you're abusive. They may suggest that you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're talking about. Um, the only one that can make that determination is you. And you have, like, I really want to champion you as the parent being able to go, this is what works for us because it has to. And I can use the best example is what I've talked about in the past as far as Darian's issue with the curvature of the earth. I could fight him tooth and nail. I tried for 2 weeks to get him to shift from the light on the horizon to the clock system, and all it did was make him more and more anxious, more and more upset. And for what? For what? If I kept that up for another month or two, what would have been the benefit to any one of us in this household? I don't think we would be sleeping any better. I don't think that our son would be near as relaxed and calm as he is. We would definitely wouldn't be taking him out for summer activities for the entirety of the summer. So I guess the point and the purpose of this video is to really champion you as the parent, going, this is what works for us. If it's spelling, if it's facilitated communication, I'm going to give you a hint. When my kids are done, my girls are done school, or let's say my Inara is done school and I just have one student now, and that student is doing a great job and I have more time, I've really seriously thought about giving Darian the spelling boards and seeing if that's something that we can revisit. It's so important for our kids to have a voice. It's so important for them to have the ability to communicate. And I really honestly don't care. I've gone to that place where I really don't care if it's accepted by society. I don't care if it's accepted by the school system, the medical system. I have to live life. My son has to live life for the rest of his days. And if I can give him the ability to communicate and to share his needs, and his sisters are able to understand him better, and like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about the pushback. Maybe I've become an ornery person. Hard to believe. But I've just gotten to that place where if a giant can smush something that is working by years and years of innuendo, years and years of saying things are far worse, and they're not willing to do the research, they're not willing to test theories, say, why does a lot of kids do this facilitated communication stuff? Maybe we should look into it. Maybe we should study it more without the biases. From my perspective, that makes way more sense. And in the meantime, it's not going to happen overnight. And in the meantime, I want to just champion you as the parent to go, this is what's working for us, and I don't care if everybody else says it's bad. This is what helps us live life to the fullest. This is what helps our kids live to the fullest. And that's what I'm going to do. So again, I hope that this is an encouragement. I did want to kind of announce that to the best of my ability, I'm going to be doing a series on the Sunrise program. But just make sure that I don't hit any copyright material. But the principles, I think, of this program are so valuable and are so helpful for you as a parent. I will also leave a link down to the videos on YouTube that the Autism Treatment Center of America have left behind, because I think all the games that they have are hugely valuable and will continue to be, even if the program isn't necessarily there. And like I said, I think there's, I will leave link to the ACTS program that Ron K. Kaufman, the first Sunrise child, has with Kate from England. They have something going that's kind of like their offshoot of the program. And then there's another, I can't remember, but I'll leave it linked down below. But yeah, I really wanted you guys to, if you are dealing with a child with autism, it is okay if you go alternative. It's okay if you search for something, find something that is not mainstream and yet works for you and your family. Go for it and do it with a certain amount of confidence that, yeah, they can poo-poo it and say it doesn't work, but if it works for you, then that's all that matters. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.